As you own, manage, and operate your company, you want to succeed and grow. It's not just a goal, it's really a necessity for survival. It's competitive out there. However, despite the best intentions and hard work, many businesses stagnate. What's the issue? Well, it's not that they don't try various business strategies. People try. The problem is that they often do them wrong. And while those may be hard words to swallow, they do ring true for many. To discuss this today, I'm pleased to welcome friend and colleague and a frequent guest, Dean Mercado, who loves to coach businesses to success. Hi, Dean.
Hey, Jeff, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good. Dean, I love your new office there.
Thank you.
Beautiful location. Where are you
Right.
at nowadays?
It's in Greenville, downtown Greenville, South Carolina.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
want
nice
people
change.
I want people to keep an eye on Dean because there's lots of good restaurants down there. So if he starts to look a little puffier, we will
Right.
have a conversation.
And as I've told Jeff, I'm exercising my rear end off because I got to make sure it doesn't get that way.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Let's get into our topic. And, I understand that you see some of these same mistakes and issues like they're on automatic replay, you might say, for some companies.
Yes.
Dean, why don't you lay out some of the common mistakes you see that you want to share with us today? And then I'll follow up afterwards with some questions for you.
All right. That sounds like a plan. And my intention is to lay this out in the old, if you got a little gray going on, you might remember this, the old David Letterman style with the top 10. And we'll go through that a little bit today. So yeah, it's been a good 2 decades of coaching small service businesses to grow and develop and so on and so forth. And as Jeff, you're mentioning, we keep bumping into the same issues over and over again. They may look a little bit differently, but on the inside, they're really the same problems. So let's get into those real quick. So going down in pecking order, number 10 is letting the inmates run the asylum. Too many times we see business owners taking their hands off a little too much and allowing, especially in the cleaning industry side of things, letting their teams out there do what they do, how they want to do it, when they want to do it, that kind of thing. Maybe not so much when, but how they want to do it, right? Which leads to tremendously varying result in their business. So it's very hard to grow and scale when you've got that kind of thing going on. It's like kind of peeking through your fingers kind of a thing. Doesn't work so well. Number 9, I'll give you, it's not knowing your numbers. Now, there are all kinds of numbers that you need to know. Everything from customer acquisition costs to customer lifetime value and so on and so forth. There are numerous numbers. And Jeff, that might be a good conversation for another day, what those numbers might be. But not knowing your numbers. And I always say, number one, the numbers never lie. And number two, if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business, period. And I know that stings a little bit, but that's the truth. Now, number 8 is going to be a little bit of a spin-off of that one because it is one of those numbers you should know, and that's your cash flow. Cash flow management is number 8. Poor cash flow management. You've got to manage the money, folks. Very, very important. It's hard to grow and it's hard to pull from a stone when there's no money there. You've got to make sure that the cash flow is always where you need it to be to grow and scale. Number 7, lack of proper target marketing, right? So you've got to know, pinpoint who your ideal perfect client is. Stop trying to be everything for everybody. It just doesn't work that way. I always say if you try and be everything to everyone, you end up being very little to very few. And that's not necessarily a good thing. So if you know who your perfect client looks like, and not everybody, if you're a residential cleaning company, not every homeowner is a perfect client for you. Let's be real. If you're a commercial cleaning company, not every business out there is a perfect fit for you. You've got to look to cherry pick and really look to hone in on who's the perfect one for you. Let's keep going. Number 6, we've got poor delegation. Poor delegation. Look, folks, you've got to become a rock star delegator if you really truly want to grow something beyond yourself. Because at the end of the day, if you can't delegate well, guess who gets stuck doing it? You do, right? So poor delegation. hits the list. Number 5 is a big one that's near and dear to my heart, which is lack of automation. Lack of automation in today's day and age. If you're not tapping into the wonderful benefits of automating certain processes and tasks and all those mundane things that you have to end up doing manually in your business, you're really missing out on the boat here. The intention is you've got to look for ways to get leverage on your business, and automation is one of the biggest ways to do that, right? And it's a heck of a lot cheaper than delegation. Trust me on that one. Then we got number 4. We've got lack of systems, and you've heard me talk about lack of systems before. So critically important. If you don't define your systems, a lot of times others are defining them for you. Let's put it that way first. And you've got to make sure that your systems are repeatable. So you can't automate well and you can't delegate well if you have a moving target of a system. So your systems and your processes need to be top-notch, first class, best in case, so on and so forth. It's worth putting the effort toward. Otherwise, you end up stagnating in growth big time when you don't have systems that are scalable. Very important, right? Number 3, when you let the day-to-day grind consume your focus, right? You get caught up in the now all the time, where it's like everything's on fire all the time. And you can't operate like that. You have to take time to make sure you're giving that energy toward strategically planning. What's next? What do we plan to do? Where do we want to be in a year? That kind of thing. So if you're allowing yourself so where that everything in your world is an urgent fire that you need to put out, you need to recognize that's a telltale sign that something's really wrong with what you got going on. So make sure you're dealing with that. Number 2 is we're getting closer to the Holy Grail here. Number 2 is the lack of vision, the lack of providing a proper vision for your company. You need to point the direction. This is where we're going, folks. Here's why. Here's how you fit in. This is what we intend to be and do in the world that we're creating here. So if you're not thinking through your purpose statement and your mission and your core values, you're really missing something. And we had a recent episode on that, Jeff, where we did talk about that a lot. I can't tell you how important it is. It's if you don't know where you're going, the problem is you might just end up there, wherever there is. And that might not be where you were thinking about you were going to go. So not a good thing for business. And the number one that I see breakdown in business out there right now is the lack of personal development from the leadership team of the company. Today's day and age, there is no excuse. You all listening to this, most of you, if probably belong to the ISSA. If you're not taking advantage of all of the training and development that they're putting in front of you, laying out in front of you, what are you doing? What are you doing at that point? Because your business will only grow to the degree that you do. And I'm going to say that again. Your business will only grow to the degree that you do. I've been consuming personal development stuff for decades, right? I'm the guy who's read over 1,000 books easily by this time in my life. I don't say that to brag. I say that because there is nothing better than being able to climb into the brain of somebody who's been there and done that. Somebody that I can learn from, somebody I can model from. That's where it comes from. I don't have to necessarily go through the pain of learning it all myself. Now, I thank my parents for that because I have 3 older siblings and I saw them make every possible mistake known to man growing up. So I was 4th out of 5. So I got to see all of that going down, and that was very cool for me. So that was a lesson I learned very early on. And I encourage all of you to really sit down and put a personal development plan in place for yourself, for every member of your leadership team, and every person on your team, period. Right? Everybody should have some sort of personal development plan because you need to know that your team members are moving forward. And some of you may push back on that. And I'm going to say, well, then you get what you deserve. I don't know what to tell you. You have to move your feet forward. So that's our top 10 list. I hope for all of you that you're not making a lot of those mistakes. You're not bumping into a lot of those things. Hopefully you're past that. But I know from certainty from doing a lot of coaching, we all bump into it and then we bump into it again and again and again and again. It might look different, but it's the same, right?
Absolutely. Dean, I love that top 10 Letterman style.
Yes.
David, I wonder how many watching are like, who's David Letterman? That's
I know,
embarrassing
right?
to even think
I
about.
know it's scary, isn't it?
It is. And I'm shocked by your number one, personal
Right.
development. I did not see that coming. I agree with it. It's high level
Good.
thinking. Mhm.
Good. It is. And it's again, it is the core. If we're not growing, how do we expect to be able to create something we can't see and we've never done before? So we have to keep improving our skills in order to even remotely think about being able to do that stuff, right? And to think that, oh, I'll just hire somebody. Good luck. No one is ever going to care about your business the way you do. No one. And I know that firsthand.
So true.
Years of pain. It just is what it is, you know?
So a couple of follow-up questions for
Sure.
you.
Shoot.
It's hard to see our own issues at times. How can a business owner watching this go, I need to see this and rectify it? Any
Great
ideas
question.
there?
Well, I mean, I'm a little biased in that area, being a coach for so many years. I would say everybody who's watching this, you need a coach. I don't care who it is. It could be a free coach, it could be a paid coach, it could be whatever. You get the best coach your money, your dollar can afford. You know, somebody who's been there, done that, traveled the path you're looking to go on. If you can't do that, find accountability partners in the industry, people who are great at other things that maybe you're not great at, and maybe you can help them with things you're great at that maybe they're not. You
Mhm.
find a way. Where there's a will, there's a way,
Okay.
right? And it's on everybody to make it a priority for themselves, right?
It makes sense because if we can't see it ourselves, we need someone to say, hey, this is what you need.
I always say to people, I'm a coach, yes. I'm a pretty smart guy. I don't say that to brag. It's just at this point in my life, I've been through a lot and I've seen a lot and I've learned a lot. Um, so, but the bottom line with that is you can't see what you can't see. You don't know what you don't know. And unless somebody is standing there looking in, while I might be smart, it doesn't mean I'm smarter than the person I'm coaching. It just means I know how to look for the issues. I have a trained eye to look for it. It's just like in sports. If you have a batting coach for baseball, doesn't mean the batting coach is better than the actual guy getting up there making 20 million a year hitting the ball. It just means they have a trained eye to be able to see the problem. That's what a real good coach should be able to do for you. So it's not get rid of the ego thing. It's not about, oh, the coach has to be smarter than me. No, they just have to know what to look for and they will help you understand what you need to be doing.
In that same line of thought, and I love the baseball coach analogy because you're right. He knows he can't swing a bat himself, but he knows what it should look like. How often do you come up against stubborn business owners? You show them what they need to do, and they're like, they just don't get it. And what do you do with that?
Every day, every day. And we are an interesting breed, us entrepreneurs, us business owners. We are a very interesting breed. A lot of us have strong ego. We don't like to be told no. We don't like to be told that we're doing something wrong or we're going the wrong way. It's not an easy thing to do until we allow ourselves to become vulnerable and we allow the ego to be used for good and not evil, holding ourselves back, being the evil side of it. It's very hard to grow. So it is about putting yourself in situations more often that you'll be able to accept being humble, being vulnerable. Until you're humble and you're vulnerable, you're going to always have trouble. I hate to say it that way. I'm one of those people. I fought it. I kicked and screamed and, I do it myself. I'm a smart guy. I'll just read another book. I know from my own learning, from my own experiences, that we didn't start growing until I started getting coaching. And that got me out of my own way. I was that guy saying, oh, well, I could run all three of these businesses at the same time, no problem. And then I was wondering why they're all doing this and they're not going where I want them to go. And I'm just getting frustrated. And you start blaming everything else but yourself. And this is why I say personal development is so important. And coaching is part of that. Good coaching will teach you how to be vulnerable. You could be vulnerable without being ridiculed. If you're in a safe space, and that's what you want to look for, a safe space where you can just let the hair down a little bit. I mean, we're getting a little thinner, but want to be able to let that hair down a little bit and get to the brass tacks of what needs to be happening in that business. So it's a tough place. And it's like, you really have to learn to let go, to relax a little bit. Right.
Agreed. Well, Dean, good words, good advice, and a top 10 list to analyze every single person watching this program. Think about those top 10 and that number one, what a biggie. That's going to take some commitment.
Yeah, absolutely. But commitment you all should commit to making. How about that one?
That's
right?
good. Thank you, Dean.
All right, Jeff. You bet. Take care.